right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Fire and fury.
The drought, the wind has just been unseasonably cruel to us.
Tonight, the warning from area firefighters during a spike of brush fires.
It's been more than a month since significant widespread rain has fallen in our region. That changes in less than 24 hours.
Tonight, damning testimony in the Daniel Riley trial.
I would say he was more concerned about himself than the child that was injured.
The evidence of drugs in his system and his demeanor after causing the crash that caused a teen to lose her legs. First tonight, clouds are building across the St. Louis region ahead of a storm system that could bring us some much needed rain. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kelly Jackson.
And I'm Mike Bush. Tomorrow we'll be in a weather alert as widespread rain will impact your afternoon commute. So let's get straight over to Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell, who's tracking it all in his Weather First forecast.
Sure are, Mike and Kelly. And you know, it's been over a month since we've had widespread significant rain around St. Louis. That'll be changing, but it won't change until late tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow evening for St. Louis. Right now, it's the low clouds. You can see them looking past the arch on that camera from City Park. Those low clouds are just into St. Louis. They stretch off to the east and to the northeast. Some high clouds back to the northwest of us. Otherwise, skies are mainly clear, and the air traffic has been flowing right along pretty nicely. Looks like all the planes there in Terminal 2 are all set up and the lights are off on the planes, which means tomorrow morning's flights are already in place. All right, so you're looking at this moisture really ramping up here. Showers, thunderstorms developing across parts of Texas. That moisture's on the increase as we head into tomorrow. It is dry overnight into early Thursday. The rain arrives later Thursday. It ends by Saturday morning. We're expecting 1 to 2 inches, and so we'll begin a weather alert for tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow evening as that widespread rain pushes in just in time for the evening rush hour, which means it will be a slow go because roads will be wet in St. Louis. We'll talk about how much rain and just how it all evolves over the next couple of days and what your weekend looks like in just a few minutes, Mike.
Remember, you can get the latest Weather First forecast anytime. Just text the word weather to 314-425-5355 and we'll send it straight to your phone. All that rain will be a relief for area firefighters. The ongoing dry conditions and high winds have led to numerous brush fires on both sides of the river, causing major issues for crews. One department in Jefferson County has responded to 35 brush fires in the last 2 weeks alone. New tonight, 5 on your side's Laura Barczewski talked with fire officials who have words of caution for the public.
Since February 18th, DeSoto Rural Fire and Rescue has responded to 100 calls. 35 were brush fires and 17 were structure fires.
And last year we had a total of 96 brush alarms. We do run a lot of brush fires, but the drought, the wind has just been unseasonably cruel to us, so the crews have been running pretty much 24/7. All of the different crews have been busy.
Deputy Chief John Scullin says many of the brush fires recently were ones that started as controlled burns and got out of hand. Some of them even happened on red flag days when burning was discouraged.
The biggest problem is people just wait too long to call quite often until there's a structure in danger or livestock. And by that time, the wind's gotten a hold of it, and it's just out of control most of the time.
And when that happens, a crew of 2 firefighters will head out in a brush truck and start the grueling task of what they call cutting a line.
With hand tools, usually you dig down to the dirt, get down to the base layer, trying to stop that fire, make a fire line. Leaf blowers, just making a path, big enough to stop that fire.
DeSoto Rural Fire says out of their 174 square mile district, only 5% have any sort of water source or hydrant like this one.
The brush trucks only, they're usually about 200 gallons of water. That's why we bring these big trucks with us, so we can fill the brush trucks up. But a lot of times we do have to call for more help because we need that much manpower and water.
Scullin says there are a few ways neighbors can help them, and it all starts with calling the firehouse.
We want people to stop, look at the weather, most importantly. If the humidity is low and the wind is high, anything over 6, 7, 8 miles per hour, and gusts especially, we want them to call and ask.
Reporting in DeSoto, Laura Barczewski, 5 on your side.
Developing tonight, a day-long manhunt is now over in St. Francis County for a violent felon. Michael Pender was arrested about 90 minutes ago during a traffic stop. Police say he wasn't far from the convenience store where a deputy tried to arrest him this morning. She suffered arm injuries from being dragged by his ATV. Pender was wanted for several felony charges, including sodomy and arson.
A St. Louis father is now charged in the murder of his teenage son. Prosecutors charged Carl Walker Jr. today with second-degree murder for the deadly shooting back on January 25th. According to court documents, Walker shot his 16-year-old son Isaiah in the head after an argument. The teen was found lying in the road just north of Halls Ferry Circle in North County. He died a few days later. Carl Walker is a convicted felon and was not supposed to have a gun.
Tonight, a South St. Louis church where a woman claims 3 men held her captive and beat her is no longer condemned.
Robert Townsend has been following this high-profile case from the very beginning, and new tonight, he has reaction from a church member. Robert.
Mike and Kelly, the investigation at Mount of Olives Ministry is far from over, but now that the church is no longer closed, one member tells me the congregation is ready to reopen its doors this Sunday. A week ago, the city condemned Mount of Olives Ministry on Marceau Street. City officials say the church was not being kept up to code, being used for illegal purposes, and was a safety hazard. As a result, all services had to immediately stop.
When it was condemned, it was feel so bad.
But now, Aneko Chambe and other members are relieved to hear the city has lifted the shutdown and the congregation can return to its church.
I feel so happy, and I thank God.
I was surprised how fast they were in and out.
Pastor Arlie Singleton sold the church building to Mount of Olives 3 years ago. He was there when an inspector and 2 other city workers inspected the 2-level church Tuesday morning.
They went through the foyer area, they marched through the sanctuary, they were looking at all of the exits to see if there was adequate ways to get in and out of the building. I don't think they found very much that was wrong.
Singleton says inspectors found 1 exit sign inside the church needed a light bulb. He says they also thought an exit sign should be installed in another location inside the church. Singleton has been working closely with the church because a majority of its leaders and members are from Central Africa, speak Swahili, and very little English.
I also think, why was it an emergency if there's no emergency? And so that's something I'm sure that's going to be difficult for the congregation to wrestle with.
Meantime, these 3 men remain in jail, charged with kidnapping and assaulting a woman in a room at the church.
I would say it's a combination of a nightmare and a whirlwind.
Pastor Singleton says the city will send Mount of Olives Ministry citations regarding those 2 recommendations.
Tonight, police in the Metro East need your help identifying this man. They say he was involved in an altercation that led to a shooting at a Metro East bowling alley. It was a chaotic Sunday night at St. Clair Bowl in Fairview Heights. This is video of a large fight that broke out inside. Investigators say a later argument led to a shooting. 2 bystanders were shot. Police are still trying to figure out if the 2 incidents are related, but police say they do not believe the man they're looking for fired any of the shots. They do say he was involved in the altercation that led to the shooting, and anyone with information is asked to call police.
We are learning more tonight about the horrific crash that caused a Tennessee teen to lose her legs. Today was day 2 of the Daniel Riley trial, and 5 on Your Side was in the courtroom. Brent Solomon is live tonight outside the Carnahan Courthouse in downtown, where responding officers took the stand today. Brent.
That's right, Kelly. Janae Edmondson herself is expected to be the prosecution's very last witness. The judge here said he'd like this trial to wrap up by week's end. And today we were there as police officers defended their arrest.
Well, the dispatcher advised me that there was an accident in the downtown area that was possible fatal.
St. Louis police officers were called responding after the crash near 11th and St. Charles Streets in downtown St. Louis. 17-year-old Janae Edmondson in town from Tennessee, leaving a volleyball game at the time. In court, an officer testified a black box from Riley's car shows he accelerated from 5 miles per hour to 45 miles per hour within 5 seconds of crashing into a white Malibu, pinning Janae, who was walking at the time, to a parked car. She lost her legs.
Did anybody ask you to perform a field sobriety test on Daniel when you got called out?
No, sir.
So when you said that you had reason to believe that he was intoxicated, what were you referring to?
Objection.
In court Wednesday, a toxicology expert testified Riley had fentanyl, THC, and codeine in his blood. An accident reconstruction expert showed the jury 3D animations of the moments leading up to the crash. It shows two different angles. After the moment of impact, prosecutors asked police how Daniel appeared.
Calm, collected, not animated.
Nonchalant demeanor, non-remorseful.
He was relatively calm for what he just went through. I would say he was more concerned about himself than the child that was injured in the accident.
Nonchalant, just nonchalant.
Okay. Relax.
He's relaxing.
The defense questioned police about why no one else could have been at fault, including the Malibu driver that slammed into Riley when he sped through a yield sign. Court will resume tomorrow. Janae's mother is expected to take the stand. Live in downtown St. Louis tonight, Brent Solomon, 5 on your side.
And be sure to stay with 5 on your side for continuing coverage of the Daniel Riley trial. You can read more on KSDK.com and get alerts on the 5 on your side app.
New tonight, the Fox C6 school district held another public forum on a possible switch to a 4-day school week. Officials say it could save the district $2 to $3 million in its annual budget. Tonight, the superintendent of the Independent School District gave a presentation. It's the largest district in the state that operates on a 4-day week.
Are we hearing from families that's been very successful? Our number of teacher applications has increased over 360%. Our student attendance has gone up just under 2%.
Fox considered the change last year before deciding not to make the change.
Cinnamon concerns. First it was applesauce pouches. Tonight, the new warning about other items in your pantry that may have high levels of lead. Saving for school while making ends meet.
A 529 is a great tax-advantaged way to save and pay for qualified educational expenses.
Tonight, the new rules to protect your hard-earned money.
The Thursday morning rush hour should be dry, but rain is here by the afternoon drive home. How much falls, when it comes to an end, and what it means for our weekend.